When I'm making music and I find a sound I like, more often than not I want to destroy it. Sometimes just a little bit, sometimes a lot, but almost always I'll put some kind of effect on it to make it my own. And that's where the idea for RUINER comes from. I'm always reaching for different devices to add something interesting, and I thought, why not pull together my favourite effects into one plugin so I can quickly and easily mess with it and then get back to the music. RUINER is a sonic degradation plugin that combines 8 effects in one unit. It's currently in VST3 and audio unit form and was engineered by my friend John at Kongburn. Let's take a closer look. Okay, so here we have RUINER, and you can see right away the 8 different effects that make up the plugin. We've got Stutter, Granular, Compress, Bit Crush, Harmonic Distortion, Overdrive, Tape and Static. What I'm going to do is play some different sound sources through the plugin, and that will give you a sense of how it sounds and how it works. So we'll start with the Stutter. Stutter works really well on more percussive, loopy type stuff, so what better than starting with some drums. So I've got these drums from the Some Drums sound pack we do. And what you're going to hear is as I turn up the knob, it's going to move through different stutter effects depending on where the dial's at. So as I turn, you'll hear these different kind of patterns forming. So they all happen relative to the master tempo, so you can have a lot of fun working with your loops, changing the stutter effect as you see fit. Next up, I tend to see this granular effect is working really well with slightly more spacious, maybe a bit plinky plonky stuff. It's chopping up the sound into really tiny pieces and then reintroducing those back into the signal at different stages. So yeah, stuff that has a bit more space and passages of silence even between it can let that really breathe. If you've got lots going on, it's hard to hear the granular effect. But for that, we're going to use a piano melody that comes from the Bones pack. So it sounds like this. Now as I turn this up, you're going to hear it become more and more complex. So you can hear those small grains just arriving a bit later after the main theme. So now it's moving the main parts around a bit as well, and it's getting more complex. Quite different to how it started. Now let's move on to the compressor. Pretty straightforward stuff. The more you turn it up, effectively you're changing the threshold, compressing more and more. Let's have a listen to that through the drums. So you're really hearing some of the nuances around the skin coming out there. Yeah, just a really nice effect. The kind of standard, I guess, that everybody goes to. Next up, Bit Crush. Equally does what it says on the tin. This is just reducing the bit rate of the sample being played through, or the sound being played through. So let's have a listen with the drums again. Okay, now next up is my favourite, the harmonic distortion. So that's really just going to take any existing harmonics and introduce some new ones and then beef those up a bit. And I find this really adds a new dimension to the sound, more than that of a compressor and some of the other effects. It really, I think, serves to add new information to the signal and give it a whole new life. So let's have a listen to the drums again, and then you'll hear the changes as we increase that harmonic distortion. So it's pushed right past there, but I think there's this kind of sweet spot back in the middle. You're just getting this additional fullness, and yeah, I love it. I always go to this one. Next up, overdrive. Again, pretty simple stuff. Let's take a listen to the drum. Now we're really blowing it out into just obliterated. Okay, next up we've got the tape effect. This, I think, really comes across on more prolonged instruments or samples, so less noticeable on something like drums. But if we take something like a more pad-like piece that we've got here, I'm taking from, again, the Bones pack. I'm going to apply this tape effect, and you're going to hear it get increasingly more wow-like and fluttery. It's just great, isn't it? Let's have a listen to the piano through the tape as well, see how that sounds. It already sounds a bit tapey to me. Okay, and then finally we've got the static. This is derived from two original noise sources that we recorded. One is taken from an analog circuit where we recorded the noise out, and then that's blended with a signal which we took from a bespoke record that was really just silence playing for 5 minutes so that we could derive our own original vinyl surface sound. So like I said, it's a blend between the two, and you can just hear that. We can just turn that dial up and you can hear that playing there on the track. And so if we add that into something like the more paddy sound, it's very subtle, but it's there just giving a very light dusting, helping it feel a bit more vintage, a bit more as if you've unearthed it from an old record or old radio recording or something like that. Now, you can blend all of these together to create some really interesting effects, and actually we've got some built-in presets here that do that, depending on whether you've got drums going through or vocals and things like that. You can also create your own presets and then save those, so there's all kinds of things you can do with it. But I'll just have a bit of a play now and mix some of these effects together. So we'll go back to the drums. Now it's worth noting that there's this big mix knob here, and that simply mixes, its default position is at full, so it's going to have all of the effects applied as you've set them, but then you can dial that down so that you've got a mix to suit between the original single and your affected one. So if we go to our drums there, now that's really fun, because if you've got some kind of stutter effect or a granular effect going, it can act a bit like a delay and you get some of the artifacts coming in. Now let's have a little play with the piano melody, shall we? Let's turn these all down, mix all the way up. And then one more just for fun. Turn these all down. Then we'll go to that ambient pad-like loop. Okay, and that's RUINER. I hope it's all nice and clear. The idea behind this was to really have something straightforward and simple that really gets you to that outcome that you know you want quickly and easily without having to get too stuck down rabbit holes, messing around with settings inside your favorite existing plugins. Those are all great. We'll continue to use those, but this is a everything in one place, get somewhere fast, sounds really good type plugin. So hope you enjoy it.